안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-movies, K-technology, K-everything. And before you know, you'll be booking your flight to Korea. Now today we're joined by our co-host Walter Lee in the studio. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm Walter Lee, back here to co-host and fill you in on the latest K-entertainment issues. Now, we did have a day off, so I hope everyone didn't miss us too much yesterday.
All right, the Culture Wave is back after the presidential election here in South Korea. So beginning today, Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, President Lee Jae-myung's 5-year term officially kicked off.
Yes, and I hope, among other things as well, that he does really help out the content and cultural sector, because obviously that will make the show much more interesting.
Yes, well, that was actually one of his commitments he made. Now, why don't we start with your commitment to K-Enter News, Walter?
Yes.
And the first story for K-Enter today is about 17.
Yes, I am talking about 17 a lot these days, and that's because the boy group have set the highest first week sales record in K-pop this year with the 5th full album. We talked about it recently, called Happy Birthday, B-U-R-S-T Day. According to the album sales tracking site Hantos Chart, 17's Happy Birthday sold roughly around 2.52 million copies in its first week of release from May 26th to June 1st. That was topping the weekly album chart. Now, this marks the highest first week sales among all K-pop albums released this year. Now, on the day of their return, they became the first K-pop act this year to achieve a double million seller, adding another significant milestone to their already massive amounts of records they have.
And that's not it. I mean, although 17 has been famous across the world,
yes,
lots of popularity in many corners of the world, but it looks like they're making especially a big impact in Japan.
Yes, just across the pond. According to Japan's Oricon chart on Tuesday, Happy Birthday sold around 457,000 copies, securing the #1 spot on the latest weekly album ranking. Now, this marks the highest weekly album sales this year among all international artists, both male and female, who have released albums in Japan. Now, with this achievement, 17 earned their 14th #1 on the chart, extending their record as the foreign artist with the most #1 albums in Oricon's history.
Wow, congratulations to 17. And now we're going to move on to a movie news. There's going to be a movie that's going to be released soon this month.
Yes, I did actually talk about this teaser a little while ago, but a press screening and media conference for the musical romance film Midnight Sun was held in Seoul on Monday. Now, Midnight Sun tells the story of Miss Seoul, played by Chung Ji-so, and Min Jun, played by Cha Hyuk-yeon, who can only go on dates at night. As they fall in love through music, they are challenging themselves to pursue their dreams together. Now, actually, the film is a remake of a Japanese movie of the same name, originally released in 2006. Now, most notably, Norihiro Koizumi, the director of the original Japanese version of the film, actually strongly recommended the remake, saying that I'm already looking forward to seeing how this story will be reinterpreted across borders through the 20 years that have passed as well. Now, the film has already been released in Japan since May 19th and has received early praise. The demand for this film globally has been already spreading as well. Now, according to distributor Buy4M Studio on Wednesday, Midnight Sun has been pre-sold in 83 countries, including 8 Asian countries, as well as the US, Canada, Germany, and many, many more. Now, as for Korea's release, Midnight Sun is scheduled on June 11th, which is just over a week away.
Well, looking forward to that. It sounds like a very lovely romantic film. Well, thank you very much for those updates, Walter, and stick around.
Will do.
And now we're going to move on to Ari, our AI anchor, for more interesting culture-related news. Ari, take it away.
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. The cultural community called on newly elected President Lee Jae-myung to boost support for the nation's cultural sector and help reinforce the global influence of K-content. Representatives from various artistic fields emphasized the need to expand the cultural budget and invest more in foundational and fine arts. They asked for support with minimal interference, urging the government to ease existing regulations. More specifically, Writers' associations stressed the importance of ensuring autonomy in literature, while music industry leaders called for the establishment of a dedicated arena for K-pop performances. The film industry highlighted the urgent need to restore the Korean film ecosystem through expanded film development funding. The 21st Busan International Dance Festival kicked off today, launching a 5-day celebration of global dance artistry. This year's festival features over 50 performances from 9 countries, including Korea, France, Singapore, and Argentina. The festival opens with Carmina Burana, a full-length special performance by the internationally acclaimed Szeged Contemporary Dance Company from Hungary. The Korea-France collaborative original production No Matter is set to premiere at a special outdoor stage on Hyundai Beach. Throughout the event, the beach stage will showcase a dynamic mix of street dance, contemporary dance, and classical ballet, engaging audiences. The Korean original musical Maybe Happy Ending, which recently opened on Broadway, continued its winning streak by clinching 6 awards at this year's annual Drama Desk Awards. At the award ceremony held in New York, the musical won major honors including Outstanding Musical, Outstanding Direction of a Musical, and Outstanding Music. The Drama Desk Awards is one of America's prestigious annual honors recognizing excellence in New York theater. Maybe Happy Ending has also earned 10 nominations for the upcoming Tony Awards, adding to its long list of accolades. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
Now, we did talk about a soon-to-be-released movie in our K-Enter segment just a bit ago, but the reality is movie theaters in Korea have been struggling to recover to pre-pandemic levels. Various efforts are being made to attract moviegoers, like providing on-site experiences for the highly loyal fanatics and even mergers between theater companies in a desperate bid to survive. Our Ian Jin tells us more.
A section of this movie theater has been transformed, a space where there's an added experience for fans of the popular Japanese manga Kaiju No. 8. It's the first time that such an experience has been set up in Korea, and just in time for the release of its film adaptation.
It was really cool to see each character in such detail, just like in the manga.
It was a meaningful experience. It reminded me of the protagonist's difficult journey in the story.
As such, movie theaters have been focusing on offering extensions of entertainment that can only be experienced in person. Lately, there have been pop-up exhibitions and merchandise shops for films with strong fan bases. Certain theaters also offer their exclusively branded collaboration merchandise, as well as specialized screening rooms that fully utilize their large screens to stand out from their competition. The struggles of movie theaters suggest that going to the movies after a meal, which was once a cultural habit, is no longer routine. According to the Korean Film Council, in 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic, people went to the movie theater on average 4.37 times a year. But in 2024, that number dropped to 2.4. That means revenues for theaters also fell to nearly half of what they were. Over the same period between 2019 and 2024, countries like China and Japan recovered to over 90% of their box office revenues, while the global average recovery rate came to roughly 87%. But recovery for theaters in Korea is noticeably slower. The cinema industry's stagnation is now evident. And as a first indication of a major shakeup, South Korea's second and third largest theater franchises have announced plans to merge. Their aim is to reduce overlapping investments and improve profitability. If successful, the merged entity would instantly become the largest in the industry in terms of the number of screens. While it may be a necessary survival move for theaters, there are growing concerns that it may, in the long run, limit options for moviegoers.
If two massive corporations emerge from this merger, they'll likely invest more heavily in premium or specialized theaters. That could mean a greater focus on Seoul and the capital region, leading to small neighborhood cinemas and local films disappearing.
If film distributors are also brought under the same corporate umbrella, there are concerns that this could reduce the diversity of films and wither the ecosystem for independent films. We are now in an era where people are more willing to pay higher ticket prices for musicals or large-scale concerts than for movies. It remains to be seen whether the industry's survival efforts can spark change and usher in a new springtime for movie theaters. 이은진, 아리랑 뉴스.
K-pop and K-dramas have gained significant popularity in the Middle East. But it's not only the interest in Korean culture, but also the interest in K-technology, including K-smart farm technology that's been on the rise in this region. Let's find out more with today's K-correspondent Kim Do-hyung, researcher at the Korea Tech Technology Transfer Institute in Egypt. Hello, Do-hyung.
Hello, Do-hyung.
Hello. Hello, Soha and Walter. Thank you for having me today.
Great to have you on the program. So, Do-hyung, could you please briefly introduce yourself to our viewers and what brought you to Egypt?
Yeah, sure. I work in both research and field operation related to the economy, technological education, and development cooperation in aspect of Middle East and Africa region. I am researcher at the Technology Transfer Institute of Korea Tech, and I came to Beni Suef in Egypt, a very small city, to support the KOICA project for establishment and operation of Beni Suef Technological University.
That sounds fantastic.
Excellent. Now, obviously, we're going to talk to you about smart farms, but before we go on to our main topic, how do you perceive the popularity of the Korean wave in Egypt right now? Like, how has it changed and what's particular, I guess, hot right now, do you think?
Actually, the Korean wave continues in Egypt, I think. Even in Beni Suef, in this small city, the people often approach me with questions about Korean dramas, and music, and sports once they realize I'm Korean. And sometimes they even know Korean dramas or music that I'm not familiar with. What's particularly encouraging is the noticeable change since I was in Egypt back in 2018. At that time, the popularity of Korean culture was largely focused around entertainment figures like boy or girl groups such as Blackpink or BTS. However, now I see growing interest not only in cultural content, but also in Korea's industry and education system, and even its politics and history sometimes. I believe this indicates that the Korean wave is no longer just a trend, but is becoming more deeply rooted and expanding into broader area of the society.
Now, Do-hyung, you just mentioned it a little bit right now, but apart from Hallyu contents like K-pop and K-drama, we hear that there has been a quiet and steady growth in other sectors, and that includes IT, construction, and Korean food products. So tell us about the strengths of these maybe less obvious K-wave sectors.
Obviously, one of Korea's key strengths in this area lies in its exceptional ability to integrate and systematize diversity industries, I think. These strengths can significantly reduce costs and streamline decision-making processes rather than dealing with each sector separately. For example, we can see the integration of automated logistics centers and artificial intelligence-based consumer forecasting systems, and precision packaging and sanitary processing system operating together. For us, it may feel familiar to us, but such this interconnected structure remains relatively rare on the global scale. I believe Korea's lesser-known strength is in this kind of cross-sector convergence, which ultimately enhances overall efficiency and economic value, I think.
So, how are Korean companies being assessed at the moment? Apart from obviously the superiority in technology, as you just mentioned, are there any other factors that result in positive perception in Korean brands in Egypt?
Korean companies are recognized locally as reliable partners and key suppliers. In Egypt, one of the main factors contributing to the positive perception of a Korean brand, obviously, it is trust. This trust is shaped by several elements. Firstly, institutional trust built by Korean government agencies in the world stage, and emotional and cultural familiarity generated by Korean cultural content like K-drama and K-movie and K-pop, and behavioral trust based on consumer service and after sales support by Korean companies in the world market, I think.
It's great to see that positive perception of Korean brands in Egypt as well. I can imagine that that could include car brands especially, and also smartphones, of course. Now, we've heard also that there's a lot of interest in K-smart farms in the Middle East. So let's delve deeper into this issue. Smart farms may be a little new to some of our viewers. Could you please first introduce us to that concept, smart farms?
Smart farm is a science-based agricultural approach that uses information and communication technology to remotely and automatically monitor and manage product growing environment without the limitations of time or location. It not only increases agriculture output but also improves working conditions by reducing labor hours. And so by providing a proper growth environment, Smart Farm allows for accurate predictions of harvest timing, and yield, while significantly improving both the quality and quantity of crops. However, there is no single definition or fixed format for Smart Farm. Its design and structure can diverge greatly depending on the user's needs, such as which agriculture area is being targeted, what hardware and software are used or equipped, and the scale of the operation, and so on.
Yes, I've been hearing a lot about smart farms being used in Europe, but I'm very curious about Egypt, obviously, and how is K-smart farms technology being utilized locally right now, and are there any products being actually grown and used or sold at the moment?
Recently, actually, it is not case of Egypt, but in the Middle East countries, especially those in Gulf area, have shown strong interest in securing stable food supply changes. It leads to a growing focus on smart agriculture. So in this context, Korean smart farm solution companies are gaining significantly attention. So Gulf countries in especially are expressing huge interest in K-smart farms. These countries are actively pursuing MOUs for smart farms models that can satisfy their needs, such as some vertical farms and aquaponic systems. Notably, there are plans to use smart farms to cultivate and sell crop varieties that align with local taste and preference. I hope to this kind of the smart farm will grow some vegetables and and they can sell in the local market, I think.
So then, talking more about the Middle Eastern region, then Do-young, are K-smart farms bringing maybe more attention to Korean food culture and lifestyle in general? And also, do you see the potential in any changes of food trends stemming from smart farms in the future?
The spread of K-smart farms could help increase interest in Korean food culture and lifestyle. In particular, as K-cultural content continues to expand globally, especially in the Middle East region as well. So Korean cuisine and dining customs that frequently featured in these contents. It remains a point of fascination for K-lovers around the world. So K-smart farms can offer opportunities to partially replicated Korean food and dining culture in local, I think. So for instance, people may be able to make Korean-style kimchi themselves from some vegetables from the smart farm, and or imitate the tradition of serving various side dishes, aka banchan. So if interested in Korean culture continues to grow alongside the development of K smart farms, then the fusion of food culture may not be such a distant reality.
Something tells me if this K smart farm grows further in the Middle East and maybe later also more specifically in Egypt, we might even have new produce like catered to the tastes, the palates of the people in the Middle East, and then those products may be again imported into Korea and vice versa. But finally, Do-young, do you think smart farms could also play a role in, raising the image of Korea's culture and Hallyu, just like K-pop and K-drama does?
Absolutely. Technology has always played a key role in shaping a country's brand image, and smart farming is expected to be one of the pivotal technologies of the future. So in this regard, smart farms are likely to contribute significantly to enhancing Korea's national image. So especially now, when Korean cultural content is so popular, K-smart farms can act like a spark that makes even more people interested in Hallyu.
All right, thank you very much, Do-young, for connecting with us today. That's all the time we have. Let's hope for Korea's technology to cater to many more regions in the Middle East and beyond, to boost agriculture and maybe even solve global food shortage issues or other issues connected to food. Well, thank you again and keep in touch.
Thank you, Do-hyung.
Thank you.
And thank you, Walter. As always, we're going to see you back here on the Culture Wave next week.
See you next week.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. And please join us again tomorrow on Thursday at 2 p.m. Korea time and maybe one day here in Korea.